I was in the middle of fixing the sink when I heard Emily laugh from the living room. It wasn't her usual laugh, the one that bubbled up naturally when she found something funny. This one was different. It was soft, almost coy, followed by a hushed, "Stop it," like she was trying to quiet someone down. Except there was no one else in the house. Just me, her, and her phone. I wiped my hands on a rag and walked out, leaning against the doorway. She was curled up on the couch, phone tilted away from me, eyes flicking over the screen like she was reading the most interesting thing in the world. Her lips twitched in that half-smile, the one I had started noticing more and more. "Who's that?" I asked casually. Her head snapped up so fast you'd think I caught her stealing. "Huh? Oh, just Ashley." Her fingers locked the screen, phone disappearing under the throw pillow beside her. Ashley. Always Ashley. I didn't push. Not yet. Later that night, she told me she was going to dinner with her coworkers. Nothing unusual, she'd done it before. But something gnawed at me. Maybe it was the way she kept checking her phone as she got ready, or how she picked a dress that was far too tight for a casual dinner. Maybe it was the perfume, the kind of scent meant to make someone lean in closer. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving, so quick it felt like an afterthought. I stood by the window and watched as she walked to her car, but instead of driving off right away, she sat there, screen lighting up her face. A few moments later, she smiled that smile and started typing furiously. And that's when I knew. That wasn't a smile you gave to coworkers. That wasn't a smile you gave to Ashley. I had no proof, just a gut feeling, a deep, twisting certainty that something was going on. And I could have let it slide, told myself I was imagining things. But the way she grinned at that screen made something inside me snap. So I grabbed my jacket, my keys, and as soon as she pulled out of the driveway, I followed her. I kept a good distance as I followed Emily's car down the dimly lit streets. I wasn't proud of it, playing the role of a paranoid husband, tailing his wife like some detective in a bad movie. But that smile, that damn smile, was burned into my brain, and I needed to know. She drove past the usual spots where she and her coworkers liked to eat. No Italian place, no steakhouse, nowhere that made sense for a casual work dinner. Instead, she pulled into the parking lot of a hotel. A mid-tier, nothing special kind of place, the kind you'd never look twice at unless you had a reason to be there. My pulse pounded in my ears as I parked across the street, half hidden behind a row of cars. She didn't go inside right away. She sat in her car, texting someone, fixing her hair in the mirror, smoothing down her dress like she was about to meet someone important. And then, headlights flashed as another car pulled into the lot, a sleek black sedan. The moment it parked, Emily stepped out of her car like she'd been waiting for it. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a man I had never seen before. Tall, well-dressed, confident. Emily walked straight up to him, and I swear on everything, the way she smiled at him, it was like she was looking at me 10 years ago, back when we first started dating. Bright, eager, excited. Not like the forced pecks and distracted glances she'd been giving me lately. And then, without hesitation, she reached for his hand. He didn't even have to pull her in. She leaned into him, laughing, her fingers sliding up his arm, like it was the most natural thing in the world. They spoke for a few seconds, words I couldn't hear, and then, just like that, they walked into the hotel together. No looking around, no hesitation, like this wasn't the first time. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles ached. My body wanted to move, to do something. Storm in there, grab her, demand an explanation. But my mind, my logical side, whispered, "You need proof." Because I knew Emily. She was a liar, a good one. If I confronted her now, she'd twist it, make me seem crazy, spin some excuse I couldn't disprove. No, I needed something undeniable. So I grabbed my phone, stepped out of my car, and followed them inside. The lobby was quiet, the kind of place designed for discretion. Dim lighting, soft music. A receptionist who barely looked up from his screen as guests passed through. Emily and the man were already at the elevator, standing close, too close. His hand brushed against her lower back as they waited for the doors to open. She didn't move away. I stayed near the entrance, heart pounding, my mind running through a dozen different ways this could go. Confront them now? Follow them? Wait for her to come home and pretend I didn't see anything? No, I needed to see everything. As soon as they stepped into the elevator, I moved. I couldn't risk them spotting me, so I walked past, toward a small alcove near the vending machines. From the corner of my eye, I watched the elevator panel. The numbers blinked. 3rd floor. I waited, counted to 10. Then I made my way to the stairs. By the time I reached the 3rd floor, the hallway was empty. Doors lined the walls, silent and closed, but I didn't need to guess where they had gone. At the far end, room 314 had just finished closing, the soft click of the lock settling into place. I exhaled slowly, hands shaking, my chest tight with something I couldn't name. Anger? Humiliation? Some mix of both? I could leave. Pretend I never saw this. Let her come home and lie to my face again. But the thought of that made my skin crawl. I wanted the truth, needed it, and I wanted her to see that I knew. I pulled out my phone and started recording. At first, I filmed the door, the room number, proof. Then, I stepped closer, pressing my ear against the wood. Voices, muffled, laughing, and then, a sound that made my blood turn ice cold. A breathy giggle, the kind I hadn't heard from Emily in years. The sound of a belt unbuckling. I staggered back, my vision blurring for a second. My whole body felt hot, my hands clenching so tightly around my phone that I nearly dropped it. This was it. The confirmation. The moment that shattered every doubt. I could have screamed, could have kicked the door down. But instead, I forced myself to move smart. My hands were shaking, but I focused. I texted a friend, Mark, a guy who owed me a favor. He worked security and knew things about tech. Need to record through a door. Help. Within seconds, he sent me a link to an app. Turns your phone into a directional mic, set it against the door. Won't be crystal clear, but you'll get what you need. I did exactly that. Pressed my phone flat against the wood and hit record. The next few minutes were agony. Sounds I didn't want to hear. Words I couldn't believe. Emily's voice, sweet and playful, murmuring things to another man that she hadn't said to me in years. His voice, deep and confident, responding with the kind of familiarity that told me this wasn't their first time. I thought about storming in. Thought about smashing his face in, dragging Emily out, making a scene so loud the entire hotel would hear. But then I thought about her excuses, her lies, the way she would have spun it if I hadn't caught her like this. And that's when I knew I wouldn't say a word. Not yet. I would let her come home. Let her smile in my face. Let her pretend she had just gone out for dinner. And then, when the time was right, I would wipe that smile off her face with proof she couldn't deny that I barely remember driving home. My hands were steady on the wheel, my breathing even, but inside, I was a storm. Every time I blinked, I saw her. That smile. The way she leaned into him. The way she giggled like some lovesick teenager sneaking around behind her clueless husband's back. Except I wasn't clueless anymore. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I had a plan. No more second-guessing. No more doubts. I had the recording, the video, the proof. But I wasn't going to waste it on some screaming match where she could cry, twist the story, or act like I was the problem. No, I wanted her to crumble. So I waited. I sat in the dim living room, phone in my hand, scrolling through the video. I didn't even need to listen again. I already knew every sound. Every disgusting word burned into my brain. But I wanted to be ready. I wanted to be calm when I faced her. An hour passed. Then 2. Finally, headlights flashed through the window. I didn't move as I heard her key in the lock. The door creaked open, and then there she was. Emily, my wife, slipping inside like she was coming home from just another normal night. She didn't see me at first. She pulled off her heels, stretched like she was exhausted, then checked her phone. A small, satisfied smile flickered on her lips. That damn smile cleared my throat. She gasped, hand flying to her chest. Jesus, you scared me. I just stared at her. She gave me a nervous laugh, setting her bag down. Why are you sitting in the dark? I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. How was dinner? Her expression didn't even flicker. Ugh. Exhausting. She rolled her eyes, stretching again. Ashley and I were stuck listening to our boss ramble about budgets. I swear, I need a drink. She turned toward the kitchen. Want one? I let the silence stretch. Let her think she was in control. Then I spoke. You weren't with Ashley. She froze. A half-second hesitation, barely noticeable. But I caught it. Then, she turned back, forcing a confused smile. What? Of course I was. I shook my head. Try again. Her brows knit together, a frown forming. Okay, what is this? I pulled out my phone, opened the video, turned the volume up. The muffled laughter, the murmured words, the unmistakable sounds of her and him. Emily's face drained of color. Her lips parted, but no words came out. I let it play for a few more seconds before I paused it. Want to try again? For the first time, she looked scared. Wait. Just, where did you get that? She stammered, her voice an octave higher. It doesn't matter. I stood up, stepping closer. I know, Emily. I saw you. I followed you. I recorded everything. Her breath hitched. You followed me? I scoffed. That's what you care about? Not the fact that you just got caught sneaking into a hotel with another man. Her eyes darted around, scrambling for an excuse, an escape. It's not what you think. Oh, really? I lifted my phone again, my thumb hovering over play, because it sounds exactly like what I think. She rushed toward me, reaching for my phone, but I stepped back. Give me that. Why? I asked, my voice calm. So you can delete it? Pretend it never happened? Lie to my face again. She shook her head frantically. I was drunk. He's just a friend. It was a mistake. I laughed. A bitter, hollow sound. A mistake? Sounds like you've made that mistake plenty of times before. No. She sucked in a breath, eyes flashing. Okay, fine. Yes, I was with someone. But it's not like you think. It didn't mean anything. My jaw tightened. It meant enough for you to smile at him like that. For you to laugh like that. For you to lie to me over and over. Her face twisted, frustration replacing fear. What do you want from me? To say I'm sorry? Fine. I'm sorry. It was stupid. Okay? It was nothing. I stared at her. You don't even sound sorry. She folded her arms, shifting her weight, her mouth pressing into a tight line. What do you want me to do? Cry? Beg? She scoffed. You followed me like some psycho. Maybe if you weren't so paranoid, we wouldn't be here right now. I felt something inside me snap. You think I'm the problem? I took another step forward, and for the first time, she stepped back. You lied to my face. You humiliated me. You threw away everything we built, and now you want to blame me. She swallowed hard but didn't answer. I exhaled, shaking my head. I hope it was worth it. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? I lifted my phone. Because this isn't going away. And neither am I. Not until I make sure everyone sees exactly who you are. Her face paled. You wouldn't. I smiled. Watch me. Emily's entire body tensed, her breathing sharp and uneven. I could see the war in her eyes, fight or flight. She wanted to scream at me, wanted to throw something, wanted to rip my phone out of my hands and smash it into 1,000 pieces. But she also knew she was trapped. She wasn't dealing with the clueless husband anymore. She was dealing with a man who had proof. You're bluffing, she finally said, voice thin. I tilted my head, taking in the way her hands clenched at her sides, the way her lip trembled despite the bravado in her voice. Try me. You wouldn't show anyone. You wouldn't humiliate me like that. She took a shaky step closer, her expression shifting, softening, her voice dropping into something almost pleading. Please, just, let's talk about this, okay? We can fix this. I almost laughed in her face. Fix this. I repeated, stepping back like her words were something dirty. You spent the night in a hotel with another man. Lied to my face. Probably laughed about it while you texted him from our bed. And now, suddenly you want to fix this. It didn't mean anything. Then why are you so scared? Her mouth snapped shut. I let that hang between us for a long, heavy moment. Then, I exhaled and turned toward the stairs. Where are you going? She asked quickly, voice laced with panic. To bed. You? That's it. I paused at the first step. What do you want me to do, Emily? Yell? Cry? Beg you to stay? I turned my head slightly, just enough to see her out of the corner of my eye. That's not happening. She blinked, looking thrown. So what? I met her gaze fully this time, my voice calm, measured. I'm divorcing you. Her breath hitched. You know. No, you're not serious. She let out a hollow laugh, like I had just told her some ridiculous joke. You wouldn't throw everything away over this. I arched a brow. I wouldn't. She straightened, shaking her head. No. You love me. You've always loved me. We've been through worse. We haven't. And we won't. You're just mad, she insisted, voice rising. You're hurt. I get it. But you're not thinking clearly. I stared at her. I've never seen things clearer in my life. Something in her shifted then. She realized this wasn't some heat-of-the-moment fight she could twist. Wasn't something she could smooth over with an apology and a few crocodile tears. I was done. Her lips pressed together, her jaw tightening. The panic in her eyes cooled into something else. Calculation. Fine. Fine. You want a divorce? She crossed her arms. Then get ready. Because I'm taking everything. There she was. The real Emily. I almost smiled. Try it. She smirked. Oh, I will. Half of everything we own is mine. And I'll make sure I get more than that. You'll regret this. I took another step up, turning away from her. You already do. Her voice followed me as I climbed the stairs. You're making a mistake. I didn't answer. I just kept walking, gripping my phone, already thinking about the next step, because Emily thought she still had power in this. She had no idea what was coming next. I barely slept. Not out of sadness. Emily wasn't worth my grief. No, I lay awake because my mind was already moving 10 steps ahead. She thought she could threaten me, take everything, walk away with my dignity in her pocket like some cheap souvenir. She had no idea who she was dealing with. At 6 a.m., before Emily even stirred, I was already up, showered, and making calls. First to my lawyer, a pit bull of a man named Daniel who loved tearing apart cheaters in court. Then to my bank to start shifting assets out of our joint accounts. By the time Emily woke up, stretching lazily in my bed, I had already locked down the important finances. Let her try to take half. I was sipping coffee at the kitchen counter when she finally stumbled downstairs, wearing one of her fake, innocent expressions. Morning, she said, voice cautious. I didn't answer, just kept sipping my coffee. Are we gonna talk? She pressed. We already did. Her lips pressed together. You don't have to be like this. I set my cup down. Like what? Calm? Collected? Not throwing a tantrum while you scramble for a way to come out of this clean. I let my gaze sweep over her. I know exactly what you're doing, Emily. You're waiting for the moment you can flip this on me. You think if you act sweet, if you gaslight me just right, I'll crack and suddenly beg you to stay. Her expression darkened. I never said that. You didn't have to. She huffed, rubbing her temples like I was the one being difficult. Look, let's just be smart about this. Okay? We can make this easy. Split things evenly, no drama. I laughed. Actually laughed. Split things evenly? Like how you evenly split your time between me and your hotel boy. She rolled her eyes. God, will you drop the dramatics? We're both adults. This doesn't have to get ugly. I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice. Oh, Emily, it's already ugly. For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty crossed her face. I picked up my phone and tapped the screen. You see, I spent all morning making sure you walk out of this with exactly what you deserve. I tilted my head. Do you know what's funny? The house? It's mine. My name's the only one on the deed. The car? In my name. The accounts? Locked. But you know what is in both of our names? The debt. The credit cards. The loan you took out for your business that never took off. Her face paled. You thought you had power here. I stood up, stretching lazily. But you don't. Not anymore. Her breathing turned shallow, fingers curling into fists. You can't just cut me out like this. I just did. She opened her mouth to yell again. But before she could, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen and smirked. Oh, perfect timing. What? She snapped. I turned the screen toward her. It was a message from Mark, my tech-savvy friend. A single link, sent with the words, "It's ready." Emily frowned. What is that? I clicked the link, letting the video load. The one I recorded outside that hotel room. The audio was clear. Her giggles, her whispers, the sounds of her betrayal wrapped up in a neat, undeniable package. Her face drained of all color. No. Yes. She reached for my phone, pure panic in her eyes. You can't. I pulled it away before she could touch it. Oh, I can. And I did. I have copies, backups, and let's just say, a lot of people are about to get a very interesting message today. No, you can't do that. That's private. I arched a brow. Private? Like our marriage was supposed to be. You. Her voice broke off as my finger hovered over the screen. I had planned for this moment, prepared for it, but I wanted to see it. The exact second she realized her life was about to collapse. She stared at me, chest rising and falling too fast, her hands shaking at her sides. Please. I smiled. Watch me. And then, I hit send. Emily lunged for my phone like a wild animal, her fingers clawing at my wrist, her nails digging into my skin as she shrieked, No! No, you can't do this. I stepped back smoothly, letting her scramble like a desperate, drowning rat. Oh, but I already did. Her breath hitched. She stood there, shaking, watching as the message loaded, the video sending to everyone, her family, her friends, our mutual contacts, even her boss. Undo it! She screeched, eyes wide with panic. You can't just. Undo what? I tucked my phone into my pocket, cocking my head. The truth. Her face twisted, cycling through emotions like a broken slot machine. Fear, fury, desperation, disbelief. You're ruining my life. She spat, hands trembling. You're trying to destroy me. No, Emily. My voice was calm, measured. You did that yourself. She looked like she wanted to slap me. Instead, she spun on her heel and ran toward the kitchen, grabbing her phone off the counter. I watched as she fumbled to unlock it, her hands shaking too badly to type properly. Come on. Come on. She muttered, furiously tapping the screen, probably trying to call or text people before they saw what I had sent. But it was too late. The damage was done. I leaned against the counter, sipping my coffee, watching her unravel. You should probably check your messages, Emily. Her frantic tapping slowed, confusion flashing across her face. What? Her phone vibrated. She stared at the screen, blinked, and then, like a puppet with its strings cut, she collapsed into the chair, eyes wide in horror, because this wasn't just me exposing her. It was everyone reacting. Her group chat with her friends? Exploding. Her sister? What the hell, Emily? Her boss? We need to have a serious discussion about your conduct. Call me ASAP. And the best one, her mother. Emily, what is this? Call me right now. She looked up at me, her face a ghostly shade of white. You ruined me. No, sweetheart, I said, voice almost gentle. You just finally got caught. Tears welled up in her eyes. Real ones this time. Not the manipulative kind she used to get out of trouble. These were different. These were genuine. You don't understand. This isn't just embarrassing. This is life-destroying. I finished for her, tilting my head. Funny. That's exactly how I felt when I stood outside that hotel room door. Her lip trembled. I can fix this. No, you can't. Her phone vibrated again. Another message. Then another. Then another. She sniffled, swiping at her face, shaking her head. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she choked out. Stop. She froze. I don't want to hear your excuses, Emily. I don't want your sob story. I don't want your justifications. I want you out of my house. Where am I supposed to go? I shrugged. Maybe ask the guy from the hotel. Her face crumpled. You. I stepped closer, lowering my voice, staring directly into her bloodshot, panicked eyes. Get out. For the first time since this all started, she didn't argue. She didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't try to manipulate me. She just stared at me. At the man she thought she could betray and walk all over, and realized in real time that she had lost. Emily grabbed her bag with shaky hands, her face still pale as she staggered toward the door. I didn't stop her. I didn't say another word. I just watched as she walked out of my life, her world crumbling around her. and for the first time in weeks I smiled. Emily was gone. For the first time in years, the house felt light. No tension, no lies hanging in the air like a bad smell. Just silence. Beautiful, peaceful silence. I stood in the doorway, watching as she drove off in her car, the one still registered in my name. I didn't care. Let her run. Let her scramble to put out the fires I set. It wouldn't change anything. Because the best part? This wasn't over. I locked the door behind me and pulled out my phone. My inbox was on fire. Texts, missed calls, messages pouring in from people who had seen the video. Some were shocked. Some were disgusted. And a few were enjoying the show. Dude, I knew she was bad. But this? Masterclass takedown. 10 out of 10. Ashley, her so-called best friend. Oh my God. I knew she was acting weird. I can't believe this. Are you okay? Her mom? I don't even know what to say. I'm so sorry. That one made me pause. Her mom, the woman who had always defended Emily, always made excuses for her, was suddenly speechless. I almost felt bad. Almost. Then my phone buzzed again. An unknown number. I smirked, already guessing who it was. I answered, bringing the phone to my ear. Hey buddy, how's the hotel room? Silence. A slow inhale. Then, you're a real piece of S. You know that? I laughed. And you're a home-wrecking clown who got caught with his pants down. Tough break. You didn't have to do all that. Oh, but I did. I leaned back against the counter, enjoying this. See, you thought you were getting away with it. You thought you could sneak around, have your fun, and I'd just be the dumb husband sitting at home. But surprise, I was always watching. He exhaled sharply, frustration creeping into his voice. Look, I don't want trouble, man. Then maybe you shouldn't have banged a married woman. More silence. Is she with you? I asked purely to twist the knife. No. I smirked. Ah, trouble in paradise already? You're a psycho, he muttered. This was between you and her. You didn't have to ruin her life. She ruined mine first. Click. He hung up. I tossed my phone onto the counter and stretched, feeling lighter than I had in years. But I wasn't done. There was one last thing to do. I grabbed my laptop, sat down at the table, and pulled up a folder labeled Divorce and Revenge. Inside, every screenshot, every piece of evidence, every humiliating detail of Emily's little affair. Then I opened my email and started typing. To Emily's boss. Dear Mr. Carlson, I wanted to bring something to your attention regarding Emily's recent business trips. I believe this video might explain why she has been distracted at work lately. Attachment, hotelvideo.mp4. To Emily's friends. I thought you all deserved to know the truth. Since Emily won't tell you herself, I figured I'd help. Attachment, screenshots.zip. And finally, the masterpiece to Emily. Enjoy the fallout. You earned it. Send. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. It was done. Emily wanted to play games? I just ended hers an hour later. My phone was a war zone. I had expected fallout. I had planned for it. But nothing could have prepared me for the sheer chaos that unfolded. First, there was Emily's boss. At exactly 10:13 a.m., I got a reply. This is highly inappropriate behavior for a representative of our company. We will be reviewing this matter internally. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Translation. She was screwed. Then came her friends. Ashley, her supposed bestie, messaged again. Holy SHT. She lied to all of us. She told me you were the one pulling away, that you weren't being affectionate anymore. She made it sound like she was the victim. Asterisk. I smirked. Of course she did. Cheaters always paint themselves as the ones suffering. Then another text popped up. From Megan, another close friend of Emily's. I don't know what to say. I knew something was up, but I didn't think it was this. She told me she was unhappy. But damn. I'm sorry, man. You deserved better. Damn right I did. But the best message, the one that made me sit back and grin, came from her mother. I just spoke to Emily. She's hysterical. Says you ruined her life. I told her she ruined it herself. You deserve better than this. I don't blame you for what you did. I laughed. Emily must have thought mommy would swoop in to save her. But instead, even her own mother had turned against her. And then, just as I was reveling in it all, my phone rang. Emily. I let it ring. Once, twice. Then I picked up. The moment the line connected, she exploded. What the hell is wrong with you? I held the phone away from my ear, waiting. Let her scream. Let her burn herself out. You sent that video to my boss. To my friends. To my mother. Her voice cracked, furious, on the edge of sobbing. What is wrong with you? I exhaled slowly. I told you, Emily. Actions have consequences. You went too far. Did I? I asked, leaning back in my chair. Asterisk, because I seem to remember you sneaking into a hotel room with another man while I sat at home like an idiot. Asterisk, asterisk. You could have just divorced me, she screamed. You didn't have to humiliate me. Now that made me laugh. Emily, I said, voice calm. Did you ever stop to think about my humiliation? Do you know what it's like to find out your wife has been lying, sneaking around like some high school girl with a crush? Did you think about me when you were giggling into that guy's ear? Silence. That's what I thought, I muttered. She sniffled, her breath uneven. Save it. I cut her off. You don't get to cry to me. Not anymore. You made your bed. I smirked. Or, in this case, your hotel sheets. Now lie in them. I have nothing now, she sobbed. You ruined everything. No, sweetheart. My voice dropped, quiet but sharp as a knife. I just revealed what was already there. She choked on another breath, then went deathly quiet. And then, without another word, she hung up. I stared at my phone for a long moment, then smiled. Game over. That I set my phone down and leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. It was over. The months of suspicion, the lies, the gut-wrenching betrayal. It had all led to this. And now, for the first time in years, I felt free. Emily was out of my life. Not just physically, but completely. She had nothing left to hold over me. No more fake apologies to offer. No more manipulations to twist the story in her favor. She was done. I picked up my coffee, cold now, but I didn't care. Tasted like victory. Then my phone buzzed again. A message from Mark. Bro, you seeing this? Check Facebook. I frowned, unlocking my phone and opening the app. And then, I grinned. Emily had made a public post. Emily Robertson. People love to tear others down instead of communicating like adults. I made mistakes, but nobody deserves to have their entire life ruined over one bad choice. If you were really hurt, you wouldn't have gone out of your way to destroy me. Some people just want revenge. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. Oh, this was too good. I barely had time to enjoy it before the comments started rolling in. Girl, you lied to everyone. You didn't make a mistake. You had a whole-ass affair. Own up to it. Oh, now you want to talk about being an adult? Where was this energy when you were sneaking around behind your husband's back? Her own sister. Emily, stop embarrassing yourself. You got caught. Move on. And my personal favorite. Her mother. Emily, delete this. You look pathetic. I actually laughed. Loud. Emily had tried to play the victim, and even her own family wasn't buying it. I set my phone down, shaking my head. That was it. The final nail in the coffin. She could spin whatever sob story she wanted, but the truth was out, and no one, not her friends, not her family, not even her own mother, was falling for her lies anymore. I took one last sip of my coffee, stood up, and stretched. I had a lawyer's appointment to finalize the divorce, and after that, I had a brand new life to start. One without Emily, and that, my friends, was the happiest ending I could have asked for.